Welcome to Mount Hope Cemetery in Independence, Kansas. Thank you for being here, and we've got a good story here today about a Civil War veteran. So the story will begin. We'll do a little bit of graveyard wandering along the way before we... I always like to look at the woodsman's graves. They're so neat. I guess the flowers at the bottom represent they have children or a family. And they quit making them in the 30s. So we'll do a little bit of graveyard wandering on the way. As we get to the topic of the story. This graveyard is really big. It's 86 acres and home to the dead of about 30,000. So it's a big place. I want to come back, do a graveyard wander video. We'll look up some woodsman's graves, mausoleums, crypts, etc. I want to thank everybody for being here. But the topic of the story today is about a Civil War veteran, George Lovell Banks. He was in several battles in the Civil War and also awarded the Medal of Honor. That's right, the Medal of Honor. I just couldn't resist doing this video, so we're going to talk about George and his story and how he was awarded the Medal of Honor. This is the grave of George Lovell Banks, October 13th, 1839 to August 20th, 1924. And his wife Olive Banks, born August 25th, 1842 to December 12th, 1902. George L. Banks, Medal of Honor, 15th Indiana Infantry, Civil War. So, we'll begin this story about George. On November 25th, 1863, the Indiana Regiment Infantry was under orders to capture the Confederate rifle pits at the foot of Missionary Ridge. Muskets cracked, gunsmoke rose in choking clouds as the 15th Indiana Infantry rushed into battle. The regiment went face down on a road well up on the ridge in a storm of lead. Suddenly, with the musket fire, Major White of the 15th Indiana gave the command for "Men, God's sake, forward." Immediately, Color Sergeant George L. Banks got to his feet, waving regimental standard and calling on his comrades to follow the colors. The whole regiment surged forward to rally around the flags. Suddenly, Banks, already wounded in the left hand, was hit by a minie ball in the chest and was knocked to the ground, stunned and senseless. 4 fellow soldiers carried the colors forward in a hailstorm of bullets and minie balls. 2 were wounded, 2 were killed. Banks came to his senses, was not disabled. The minie ball had struck a book and 2 letters inside his shirt. He got to his feet, running up the hill, picked up the flag as it went down for the 5th time. Banks raised the colors and called on his fellow soldiers to follow the colors. As the 15th Indiana reached Missionary Ridge, they saw the Confederates lower their guns. The men of the 15th dropped to the ground to avoid the hail of minie balls and try to escape death before the rebels could reload. The 15th Indiana Infantry stormed Missionary Ridge. Banks ran up the hill waving the stars and stripes and calling to his fellow soldiers. As the regiment was capturing the hill, Color Sergeant Banks was wounded on the side of the head as he fell backwards off the hill. Second Lieutenant Thomas Graham, Company G, seized the flag and moved forward to finally the day was won by the Union troops. Color Sergeant George L. Banks received 3 wounds during the charge of Missionary Ridge. He won the Medal of Honor while carrying the flag at Missionary Ridge. Over half of the medals of honor bestowed by soldiers during the Civil War had to do with carrying the colors or related incidents with the flag. The tattered, torn, bullet-ridden flag gives a silent testimony to the heroic acts of the men of the 15th Indiana Regiment. George Banks was in the battles of Greenbrier, Elk Water, Shiloh, Perryville, Stone River, Missionary Ridge, and discharged on June 25, 1864 due to his wounds. He was contacted by the Department of War, Washington, D.C., September 21, 1897, for acts of gallantry. The Congress of the United States to Color Sergeant George L. Banks, 15th Indiana Infantry, for gallantry at Missionary Ridge, Tennessee, November 25, 1863. So, George L. Banks was in many battles and awarded the Medal of Honor for his gallantry at Missionary Ridge, the Battle of Missionary Ridge, and was in several other battles. It's just incredible that he actually lived through all that. And then went on to come back to Independence, Kansas, to have a good life here with his wife and family. So I wanted to pay respects to George L. Banks and his wife Olive. And let this story be known a little bit in a video online. So, I hope everyone enjoyed this story. And rest in peace to George L. Banks and his wife Olive. Thank everybody for being here, and rest in peace to George and Olive. And thank George L. Banks. Thank him for his service. And awarded the Medal of Honor for gallantry at the Battle of Missionary Ridge. Rest in peace.